Thanks for getting me another one, Sonja.
Of course. I owed you this anyway, despite our IMF balance of payments issues.
Yeah, IMF. Makes us sound very important, at least to ourselves, which is all that matters. Did you notice this lovely haunt seems slightly busier today? Like, is something going on in Houston that we're missing?
Maybe... Of course, there's always events at Rice happening. Possibly a game or something?
Yeah, that's the typical reason for all the traffic. That and parent visitation days. By the way, while we were talking, I was ripping through the next chapter of this personal scourge.
Great, Kate. Proof that we both are able to talk and chew gum at the same time. Kudos to us polymaths.
Polymaths? Maybe. Polyesters? Probably. But did you catch one of the 3 little piglets passing by a moment ago?
Piglets? Pigs? What are you talking about? Are there some in the store?
Yes, the piglet store, Sonja. The piglet. It is not a full-fledged pig, I believe, or the lady would be tipping over.
Say what? Should I be turning around to stare at this?
No, please don't. But I'm talking real piglet here. Oinker. Pork futures. In that lady's massive purse over there at the ordering screen. But don't turn around, okay?
I see neither a pig nor a piglet, dear one.
Sonja, I told you not to turn around. And of course you did it immediately.
Still didn't see a piglet, I'm afraid.
That's because the lady who just walked by was stuffing the poor little porky down deep in her purse. As if nobody was going to notice that she just brought a farm animal into our store.
I think you're right, kiddo. I just heard a muffled squeal that sounded very pig-like. Maybe she carries it around as a comfort animal?
Maybe the case. And there's something else that's odd about how that lady is dressed, as if she just saw a Broadway play. No doubt someone dressed that fancy feels fully obliged to sneak an illegal pig into a bubble tea store.
An illegal pig? Does this imply that certain pigs are legal and others aren't?
Don't know. I'd have to check its papers first, if that lady would let me. Go figure, though, because people get licenses to carry around all makes and models of strange animals. Just go file that paperwork online, methinks.
Really? So, thump me when she's starting to leave so I can take a peek at the little guy, okay?
I can't do that.
Say what? You can't tell me when she's leaving?
Nope, no siree, bub. And there's good reason why. Not that I wouldn't want you to enjoy the unique experience of seeing a pig in a purse.
Isn't that some kind of saying? Let me think. Yeah, I got it. A silk purse from a sow's ear. Or, is that right? It's not a cow's ear, is it?
Might be both, depending on what kind of farmer you are. I'd have to check. But if you think about it, I've never seen a pig's ear that looked like it could be made into a purse. And clearly not as big as that lady's purse.
But you will let me know when you see her walk out, right?
I'll try to signal you, though it's against my better nature to do so, Sonja.
Why is that?
Because. People who carry pigs in their purses are just asking for other people to stare at them. It's basically like performance art for animal purveyors.
I suppose you're right. I mean, she could otherwise be traipsing around with a macaw or squirrel on her shoulder.
Right, you're on track now. Maybe an iguana, or duckbill platypus, or rhesus monkey with a hat.
Oh, Kate. I believe you're thinking about a capuchin monkey, right? The kind that organ grinders have? Aren't rhesus monkeys the ones used as lab animals?
Rhesus, capuchin, it all comes out in the wash in my opinion. But it highlights the fact that somebody really messed up when naming the monkeys in my opinion. Shame on that scientist.
In what respect, dearie?
Well, all monkeys should have been coded for some redeeming qualities they possess, no doubt. Maybe by size and weight, or their physical furry features or behavior. It's just too hard remembering one monkey's name from another when they're so randomly named.
That's a serious issue, monkey naming. There's probably someone important in the monkey world that you can talk to about changing all that big mess of nomenclature. It's never too late to rename a monkey, I always say.
Seriously though, Sonia, I'm not intending to be hypercritical. Though you just mentioned a macaw, and that mention is particularly problematic.
Really? In what sense?
Well, and this one has always bugged me, ever since I was a tykester. It's about macaws and macaques. See? I mean, one's a bird, and the other's a monkey, I think. Any person with two brains would understand the conflict there.
Oh, indeed. That's another big issue you should talk about with the naming expert in the monkey world.
Though I can see how certain people who don't understand the importance of such things might wonder if I'm being hypercritical.
You, Kate? I've never heard a soul apply that term to you. Joking.
Yeah, but it's no joke. Like, I realize that people are wired differently. So many folks just don't get the connections that I do. Critical, world-defining connections. But either way, it's quite possible that I have been overly hypercritical lately, at least with regards to Ricky Boy.
Ricky? Now, how did we get off onto the topic of monkeys again? Was Ricky talking about monkeys?
No, not really. Not about monkeys, or not yet anyway. But he does talk about sloths to great excess. Thinking about it, I can see where sloths and monkeys are pretty easily confused.
Ricky and sloths? Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Clearly, those old aliens he's talking to should definitely hear all about sloths, right?
Yes, indeedy.
So, if Rick and Sophia are living in the high deserts of Arizona, are they keeping a gaggle of sloths there at their remote ranchero? Do they let the sloth types climb around their vertical or horizontal gardens?
Not really, no. I think the only four-legged animals hanging around their ranchero are their 6 dogs.
So, what is Rick's deal with sloths then? Seems like an odd animal for him to focus on. Not sure it's number 1 on my alien topics list.
I agree, but he brought them up in this context. He said we humans are lazy and short-sighted. Then he called us all slothful. Kind of a harsh word to use to describe such a cute animal. Agree?
Sure. I've always liked those plodding little guys. Wouldn't hurt a fly, I suppose. They just eat leaves, I think. But slothful humans? Seems a very biblical word choice.
You got it. Old Ricky exudes biblical energy, big time. Very fire and brimstone about humanity, which, by the way, bugs me to no end.
You? Bugged? At what, pray tell, this time?
At that appalling word, brimstone. I mean, you could ask anyone here in this store, or outside even, whether they've ever seen brimstone in any form whatsoever, and they'd probably think you were some kind of loony evangelical. Correcto?
Or maybe a volcanologist? Or a geologist?
Right, but I'll bet there's no geologist on Earth who's even seen brimstone, or its cousins. Fire? Yeah, sure. Lava spewing comes with the territory. But brimstone? Not a chance.
Uh-huh. I'd place odds on that. I don't even know where brimstone comes from.
Yep, a non-originated word. I mean, maybe it's one of those old terms that's no longer in vogue. Like, I'll bet there were lots more volcanoes in those biblical times, and brimstone was flying around everywhere in the sky. A veritable parade of brimstone brimlets to light a fire to your Sunday picnic. All that brimstone, causing a general ruckus to townsfolk.
Wow, and all this time, I assumed the reason people wore hats back then was to keep the sun off their faces. Whereas, in actuality, they were protecting their heads from brimstone brimlets.
Absolutely. Consider Pompeii, for God's sake. Now, that's the kind of rain you just don't want to have. At least not without a good brimstone-proof hat or umbrella.
Sure. So, sorry, I'm a little lost in a post here about women's shoes. Then, how did we just diverge onto the brimstone topic, Miss Kate?
Wait. Before we get back on topic, didn't that just bug you?
Didn't what just bug me?
That phrase you just said about God's sake. You know, is it God's sake? Or is it God's sakes?
Whoa, Kate. I sense another stellar observation about to descend.
You know, I've heard people say both versions and never really thought about the related vagaries and inconsistencies until now.
Huh. Vagaries, right. But I agree with you. It's some big deal you're mentioning there.
You know it. I mean, if it's God's sakes, that could imply a single God having multiple sakes, whatever sakes are. Or God's sakes might mean multiple gods, each having only one sake apiece, right? Like, they could be using God's sakes only in polytheistic cultures, you think?
Oh, dear girl.
I might have to look that one up, though not to dwell on it, because that saying never bothered me much until you said it.
Uh-huh. Please be sure to update me once your in-depth analysis on this critical topic concludes.
And speaking of gods and brimstone and monkeys and the likes, our old Ricky boy just likes to harangue and harangue. Harangues like orangutans.
Does he attempt to offer any solutions? Or is he just one of the multitude of guys who only like to complain all day? Mostly to us poor, undeserving women.
Complaints. Nothing but complaints. Imagine what his poor parents had to tolerate when he was a toddler. Mommy, bath too hot. Mommy, Billy's being mean to me. Anyway, what you just said makes a lot of sense.
Really? How's that?
Well, first, here's Ricky haranguing. And then he sends his little harangue fest off to his alien buddies. But imagine this. What if his message reaches a world of females only?
Meaning exactly what?
Meaning the poor alien women would be saying this. Seriously? Does this guy think we haven't heard these complaints a million times already? I mean, why else would we banish all the males from this planet, dude?
Sure, sure. I think a bunch of old sci-fi films were based on a similar premise. Men, bad. Women, tolerable.
Yep, as if that was some extremely original plot line, right? Just send those old boys packing, then bring them back only to perpetuate the species. Better yet, do the old replicate yourselves thing without them.
Now, there's a great thought. I think that process is called Parthenon, or something similar to that.
Yep, I don't remember it either, though I think the word is indeed Greek. But because old Ricky doesn't know who he's talking to, he keeps harping away anyways, assuming someone out there will listen to his harping music.
That's very man-like, my dear.
Right? Yet, the dudester harps on regardless, saying that women and men avoid pain and seek pleasure. Pleasure seekers we are indeed, the whole lot of us.
Sure. But isn't that just basic instinct? I mean, I can see the caveman saying, "Here's your hand close to the fire, Billy. Now here's your hand away from the fire." Which option do you choose?
Yeppers! But Ricky Boy still complains like it's some massive character flaw. He says, "Dear aliens, humans seek pleasure, and that is our fatal flaw. So don't do like us. Seek pain, not pleasure."
What does the guy expect? "Hello, little green dudes. I'm Ricky, one of the few on the planet who enjoy suffering."
No kidding. He's Rickster the Flagellationister.
Maybe Ricky needs a little professional counseling?
Could be. Then, he later on says that humans don't have access to pleasure meters that would tell us to stop pleasuring.
Pleasure meters? I think that was in some old Woody Allen movie. Though there is some truth there. I wish every guy I ever dated owned one of those babies.
Yep, it'd be like this highly revered golden device you give to somebody when they reach that critical age of consent. You'd tell your kid, "Here you go, Freddie, your own personal pleasure meter. Have at it, kiddo."
Sure, that's an interesting gift idea for 8th grade graduation.
Right? It would tell the poor kid, "Sorry, Freddie, you've reached your maximum pleasure for the day. All out of credits, buddy. You'll be topped up tomorrow, so don't think any pleasurable thoughts and have a good night."
That sounds really, really dystopian. This Ricky boy is kind of the opposite of a raconteur, if you ask me. He likes to hear himself talk to excess, but he lacks the humor aspects.
Oh, God, Sonia. Don't get me started on that again.
Started on what again?
That word. That doggone word.
What word? Dystopian?
No. And I won't repeat it because it'll get me thinking about it too much.
Really? Okay, what did I say? Raconteur?
Ouch, you just repeated it. Not my fault for what dribbles next from my mouth.
Whew, ooh boy. Stepped in it, I apparently did.
Everyone thinks it's a troublesome word though, Sonia. Maybe not with you, because you're calmer than most people. But virtually everyone else in the world.
Okay.
Maybe it's the Frenchness that bugs people. I don't know.
It's the Frenchness? What worries me is that I might see where you're headed with this.
It's not that I don't like the French. I do. But if you're gonna bring a special sounding word all the way across the ocean with you, should be sure that it doesn't get confused with other words in the local lingua, right?
Not quite seeing your point, dearie.
Like, imagine this French couple migrating to the US.
With you so far.
So they're at the immigration counter. Obliviously, the husband babbles away at her non-stop. So the poor wife tells the officer, "Please forgive my husband, officer. He's a real raconteur."
Yeah? And the officer laughs at that, I think?
No, of course not. Instead, the officer instantly arrests the French dude on the spot and puts him in irons.
Irons?
Yep, irons. Just pretend it's some time ago, okay?
Irons, then. I take it that her husband talked too much, so she told the officer to arrest him?
Nope, not at all. It's because the immigration officer assumed her husband was a racketeer. Get it? Not a raconteur?
Whew, oh my god. All that explanation for a little word confusion?
Indeed. I mean, I wonder how many people were put in irons because they said a foreign word that sounded like the wrong word in English. I'll bet it's thousands.
Oh, I'm sure it's thousands. Millions, maybe. Right place, wrong word, leg irons.
So I think we should move off this topic because the more I think about the confusion factor, the angrier I get.
Of course, Kate. Not to remind you, but I am trying to get a bit of work done here while you appear to be reading.
I'm sure that the shoes ad, or whatever you're doing, is totally work-related.
Right, girl, of course.
So I'll shut up soon, but you just reminded me of Ricky Boy's next complaint about humans living in caves for countless eons. Cave living, doing nothing.
For countless eons? Isn't that phrase kind of superfluous?
I suppose. I suppose that eons implies countless, but not vice versa.
Is it an oxymoron then?
Maybe. But imagine, for all those millennia, our caveman ancestors had no jobs, no bills, no auto insurance. Yep, they were just grunting away at each other all day, every day. Grunting echoes bouncing off the cave walls.
Now, that's probably on the mark.
Yep. Uncharacteristically, Ricky even swears a bit and calls everyone lazy-ass humans, which isn't very nice if you ask me.
Really? You'd think he'd be a little kinder if he's telling these aliens about us poor old human types. He is one of us, after all.
Greetings, space friends, out there in Spacey Space. Let me tell you about us lazy-ass humans. Now, that is always an attention getter.
Our Rickster does have a certain way with words. If you think about it, poor Sophia is likely very happy that he's locked in his own little room, complaining away to the stars and starlets.
But isn't that true for most couples? Like, sure, honey, I'd like to listen to you complain, but I'm a little busy right now. I suggest you go whine to the wall. It'll be more sympathetic than me after the umpteenth time I've heard you harp about the same issue.
Uh-huh. Hey, give me a minute here to get this done.
But you know what?
What's that?
One of the things that really bugs me about the Rickster by himself is exactly that.
Exactly what?
Rickster. His name. His name should bug everybody.
Rick? Ricky boy? What does Sophia call him?
In person or when he can't hear her? But think for a minute, like how many variations are there on the Rick theme?
Not sure entirely.
Then I'll start. I can think of about 30 variants. We just named 3. Then there's Richard, Ricky with a Y, Ricky with 2 Ks or even 2 Cs, or Richie with an I and E. or Richie with a Y, or Richie with a T and a Y. Then there's all the language variants, like Ricardo, Rico, Rickmeister in German.
Geez, girl, you're right. And what about Dick and Dickie and Dickie with a Y? But I'm not sure there's 30 in total. That's a lot.
The Dickster? Nah, not quite the same ring to it as the Rickster, no?
You do realize that you are one to be speaking about such things, right?
Meaning,
Well, there aren't many variants of Sonja, but lots for Kate, my dear Kate.
Oh, don't go there, Sonia. You know how much I hate the confusion around my real name. And everyone who doesn't know me tries to lengthen my name and stretch it to Catherine or some other God forbid long thing.
Welp, I know how sensitive you are about the topic, so maybe we should just leave that one on the table then?
Of course. Still bothers me, though, that people can't believe I was named Kate at birth. 4 letters. So, best to get back to the Rickster, methinks.
Sure, he's such an entertaining specimen of a man, right?
Oh yeah. I forgot to tell you that he caught a lizard that made its way into his safe house of an office.
Really? Was that some monumental event for him? I mean, they both live in Arizona and all. I imagine there are more than a few lizards there.
That's pretty much what he said. Maybe came in with the dogs or something, but he was none too pleased when it showed up on his desk, just staring away at him.
What? Is he one of those lizard phobes? What do they call those type of people?
Lizard phobes? Maybe that's the one.
Man, now that I think of it, there is a word for that. Something very long, I believe, that sounds like dinosaurs.
Maybe so. But it isn't that the Rickster is necessarily a lizard phobe. I think he was afraid of this particular lizard.
Seriously? Was it one of the poisonous ones? Or was it grinning at him or making a face?
Don't believe it was grinning, but I'd love to see one do that.
Then, what was Mr. Lizard doing on Ricky's desk?
He didn't say.
Maybe he was there to add a lizard's perspective to Rick's monologue. Like, he wanted to speak to lizard types on other planets that, even though humans are raunchy, lizards are otherwise the best.
Didn't think of that. Maybe the lizard was just wanting to say, "Greetings, brothers in scales. I speak to you from faraway Earth. If you ever visit us to wipe out and recolonize, please be aware that we're here and ready to welcome you with open claws."
I'm liking that. Lizard communities across the universe, uniting as one. Interstellar lizards.
Yep, but no, Ricky was not thinking like us, despite the lizard's real intentions.
So, what did the boy do with the poor lizard once he caught him?
I think he let it go. Ricky was concerned that the billionaire-trillionaire oligarchs were creating robo-lizards to hunt down social deviants like himself.
Wow, so, Rick somehow determines that this lizard is not a robo-lizard?
Apparently. Just grab that old magnifying glass and look in its eyes, I guess.
I get that, but what if the lizard really did smile when he put that magnifying glass to his face?
Jeez, didn't consider that. One would imagine, if the little guy really smiled big back at you, that it was indeed a robo-lizard.
For God's sakes, now, that would be a scary thing to happen, right?
And there we go again, right back to the God sakes and all. Maybe it's time for a little lunch, no?
Can we give it a minute? I just need to finish this article about our own lovely oligarchs who seem to run everything in the world at this moment.
What are you reading, dear Sonia, that could be so important as to put off eating lunch?
Nothing important, really. Just some political argument about how those old billionaires and trillionaires are trying to tell everyone else how we should be just like them. The saints and beloved geniuses that we all know they are.
Uh-oh. This time it's finally you, instead of me, haranguing about our lovely thumbs on the scale of life, magnanimous moneyed monsters. How nice to finally have the tables turned.
What? Oh, I get it. You're ready to chastise me about bringing up the B word and the T word, even though we've promised not to focus on them, right?
If I recall, Sonja, it was you who insisted that we concentrate our limitless intellects elsewhere, where we can actually do some good, rather than rag on about the sordid state of our political affairs.
You're right, I suppose. I guess I was just stuck on the fact that the article is titled The Feckless and Reckless, which just drew me in magnetically.
Sure, you're the North Pole, being Scandi, and I suppose I'm the South Pole, when it comes to those unrepeatable words.
I get it that I'm the North Pole, but how are you the South Pole? Do you have South American relatives that you haven't told me about?
Maybe? I'm not sure. I mean, DaCosta is clearly something that sounds closer to the South Pole, right?
Indeed, Miss DaCosta. Personally, I like your last name because I get to rhyme it to various things.
Whew, don't remind me. I mean, how many times have you said, "Are you losta, Miss DaCosta?" Or, worse yet, "Let's do pasta, Miss DaCosta."
Right, but I have dozens more. Some that I've yet to use on you.
Oh, please, let's move on to some other topic. Let's take the title of your apparent work-related article you're reading, for example.
What? You mean The Feckless and Reckless? I kind of like it. Somebody used AI to generate that title, clearly.
No, not me. I specifically don't like it and find the whole title problematic.
Whew, and why is that?
Obvious, I fear. I mean, both words kind of have this same problem, but clearly the first is more onerous.
Problem? What problem do they share?
I mean, aside from the need to rhyme two words that are maybe distantly associated, the other problem is that they lack the matched opposite, as I think we've discussed recently.
Oh, I'm starting to understand now. You don't like feckless, assuming there is no feck to go along with it.
Perfect. Nail on head. Consider this. How many people have you ever heard say, "That Bobby, he is a feckless one"? Then try the illogical corollary of, "That Bobby, he is a feck one." See?
Perfect indeed. The mistress of mistreated words has found another missing pair.
Yeah, right. And actually, the word reckless is no better.
Okay, how about Bobby is quite reckless versus Bobby is quite wreck? That totally doesn't work.
Sonja, I think you're coming along just fine. I mean, few individuals are of capable mind span to really ponder such imponderables.
Oh dear. Perhaps we both should be wondering about the feckless and reckless status of our intellects?
I don't think so. In fact, if more people thought like we do, I'd argue that the world would be quite blissful.
Couldn't agree more, my dear. Now, how about we go grab lunch at that Chinese place next door?
Okay, I'm good, as long as lizard pie isn't on the menu.
Ew, not funny, Kate. Think I just lost my appetite.